Chad Elkins presents the Elkins Accounting Hour with your host, Chad Elkins.
Mr. Clary, long time no see, huh?
Yeah, it's been years. How have you been? This has been
amazing. What have you been up to?
We need hours to catch up. In between the podcast we did on my show earlier today and now this one, I went for a beautiful hike on a fall day. It was 60 degrees, nice wind. It was in a canyon. Leaves are turning yellow. Still a little trickle in the stream. And not 90 degrees like I guess it is down there in Dallas for you.
It is stupidly hot here for late October. In fact, I mean, I'm convinced that like this place, maybe some people are right about global warming, because ever since I've been spending time down here, it's just hot all the time.
Well, are you going to spend winter down there?
I am. I plan to. That's the one time it kind of works out. But even in Chicago, apparently the last two winters have been nothing in terms of snow and cold temperature.
Yeah, no, last year it was warm. If you could believe it, it was warmer in Minneapolis several days than it was down in Vegas.
Vegas?
In Vegas, yes. It was not common, I don't think, but it was like 5 or 6 days. It was warmer in Minneapolis than it was in Vegas. And that's wrong. It shouldn't be that way.
No.
Everyone in Minnesota and Illinois should suffer. All us real Americans who don't hate ourselves moving down south shall enjoy our winter. You must suffer and pay taxes. We shall enjoy sun and warmth. But yeah, it wasn't that way for this past year.
Well, I just feel kind of cheated. I mean, I have the perfect system of escaping the winter, and hey, and you too.
Tell me about it. Like the past three went now. 3 winters ago, it was warmer down in Vegas than any place up north. But not by much. Vegas has the past 3 winters have been very cold. And so I kind of get pissed off. That should make the Somalis. They're happy right now. Those dumb Minnesotans just vote for all the welfare and come on in. We'll pay for everything. The Somalis are very happy in Minnesota. Like, I can't believe we got these suckers to pay for our living here.
It's for real. Real quick, as we always do on the Elkins Accounting Hour, this is a pretzel stout from Martin House. It's 6.5%. It's a peanut butter stout. I know you hate this stuff.
There's more than one?
There's several. However, I need to be honest. While this one is good, nothing will ever be as good as that one I keep showing you on here, that left-hand peanut butter milk stout. Oh, it's so good. But this is still good, so cheers.
Cheers. Where can you get the really good one? Can you get it again?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh, okay. I had some of these left over, and we're gonna go hit up Total Wine, the one you went to on Friday. So I'll restock.
I've never understood that, where they'll do, we're making this really great thing, but limited production. And like, I could understand if you made a shitty thing and had limited production to like price gouge people as a strategy. I'm not saying it's ethical, but at least it makes sense as a strategy. But we're going to make this spectacular beer, whiskey, whatever, but only limited production. And we're never bringing it back, or we're going to make it real hard for you to get. It's like, look, you've made such a good thing. You could probably charge a premium for it and sell volume without lowering the price. But they just, there's been a couple whiskeys that the GF and a colleague of mine have been really interested in, but they just limited the production of it.
I don't understand that either. Somebody who owns a brewery one time did tell me, he goes, some of this is actually cost related, because some of these seasonal beers, especially Martin House, it costs them extra to make it. Like there's this one waffle beer that, it tastes so good, but he was telling me that the costs are pretty high to get that in there. So I'm just like, why don't you charge extra for it?
Let me ask you something. I know we'll get to the topic one of these days, but restaurant qualities have gone down in terms of the food. Like Perkins has gone down. There was a restaurant in the Twin Cities, what's still there. It's called Tavernon France, and they have several restaurants in the Twin Cities, and they're all solid, good food. And we're changing our menu. It's like, no. The reason for your success is because of the food you made. Stop. It's not the menu. Well, but prices went up. Then increase. Look, would you pay an extra $2 for a good sandwich that you really liked?
I would. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm not a restaurateur. I don't know the cost per unit, but there was an Italian cafe in Vegas that I love going to, and they had this Italian hoagie. It was wonderful. And I went in to order, say, oh, and you could tell when the staff is like, oh yeah, we killed our favorite child, we sold him into slavery, and they say, yeah, we stopped making that. You're like, charge an extra $2. Really? What could it possibly cost more than $2 for you to make a profit on? So I just don't understand that.
I don't get it either. I know they're having labor problems in these industries. Maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know. But yeah, they do all these limited release beers. And yeah, why can't we have it all year?
Yeah. Would you be, how much, just out of curiosity for a data point's sake, your favorite, the waffle beer you were talking about,
Yeah.
how much more would you pay for a can of beer so that they could have it what would be the maximum you'd pay? Not that you're destitute or, oh my God, you're starving, but what would you be willing to pay regularly right now for one can of that beer?
I'll do it in terms of 6-packs. Like, so
Okay.
one average 6-pack at this brewery is probably about, between 10 and $13 or something like that. Maybe even a little bit more.
$2 a can.
I would go as high as $20 for that, for a 6-pack, because it's so good. It's so
that is a 40% increase over the price.
sure. And I think I showed this to you last time you were here. I showed you that beer. Yeah, it's so good.
But so now maybe their margins do go up by 40%. Their costs go up by 40%. I have a hard time believing it. I believe they make a significant profit if they just made some and jacked up the price so that they can make a profit, and the people who really like that beer could also buy it.
Maybe there's not enough people like me who really love it, but I don't know.
Well,
there's not. By the way, we were talking about earlier today. There's just nothing like being able to drink a beer on a Wednesday at 4 a.m. without consequences. I just gotta say,
there's nothing like, babe, you want to go for a hike? Yeah, let's go. Okay. And you shut down the computers. You get the hell. You come back. I gotta do another. I gotta contribute to GDP. I gotta go on the second podcast today.
And she even has a real job too.
She got a real job. Yeah.
All right. Well, I did want to. So over the weekend, the candidate and I, we went out to Salt Lake City, Utah, and you know who lives out there, right?
Mr. 5'9",
Mr. Rare. And so you've met Rob a few times. I'd never met him before, and he had this great idea. Have you ever heard of the Melting Pot restaurant before?
No.
Have you eaten there?
I have. They used to have. You come out smelling like oil. But it's a fondue place. Yeah, it's kind of different. It's like a hookah, but you eat.
So I'd never been there. I knew about it. Absolutely phenomenal. I mean, Rare absolutely nailed that suggestion. He brought his belly dancer girl, the candidate came, and it was just, yes, it's very expensive, but it's one of those meals that it's worth paying for. And, as for Rob himself, one of the things I often say about you, because people ask me this, they're like, is he in person? Is he the same way as he is, on his videos? And I say, oh, definitely. Absolutely. 100%. I got to say the same with Rare. And to me, I mean that in a highly complimentary sense. I like it when people are our authentic selves online as they are in real life. And so we had a really good time.
When the handful of times I've met him, the only thing that would be slightly different is he is a very gracious host. Like you wouldn't expect, like, get the fuck, like constipated, pissed off old man. But he's like, you need a couch? Yeah, he was nothing but the friendliest of guys. But then also when you hang, your goddamn penis is so small, goddamn, like when he's hanging out, he'll pick on you. But yeah, Rube is 100% authentic.
Yeah, so we just had a phenomenal time, and and he's at Rob Says on YouTube. In case anybody doesn't know him, he streams Thursdays on his channel, and then Fridays on Jack Napier's channel, Red Evening. And us hanging out Friday night caused him to miss Red Evening, which I really liked because I was just. And then I listened to it later, and Jack's like, "Yeah, Rob's not here. He's hanging out with Chad Elkins," and so he was. Well, anyway, there's a topic here that I'm kind of excited to chat about. Now, Clary, I touched on this last week. Have you seen that TurboTax commercial?
Yeah, isn't it like the girl breaks up with him or something like that, or you break up with your tax accountant?
Yeah, and I'm
Yeah.
going to go ahead and play it, and I'm allowed to. I've seen other people playing it,
Okay.
fair use and all that. So give me just 1 second. It's very short. It's only 30 minutes or 30 minutes, 30 seconds long. So 1 second. And there was this whole backlash thing. All right, share.
I can't hear it. Unmute yourself.
1 sec, 1 sec. So there's no sound?
So here's what StreamYard is just, they're just so smart, man. You
Yeah.
using StreamYard, right? To stream
Yeah.
this? StreamYard automatically turns off the volume because why the fuck would you want to play sound on a video, right?
Yeah.
So in your settings somewhere to play this video, you have to find where it says allow audio.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, I found it. I found it.
Did ya? Okay.
Stereo.
To the people at StreamYard, we hate you. Stop doing stupid fucking choices.
Sorry, Clary. Go ahead and entertain the masses. I didn't find it, but I'm getting there.
Yeah, this is why I hate IT people. Where we got user UX IX interaction experience, user experience. Oh yeah, you paid all these people to like test your product, and you don't catch this one. This has been like this for years. For 3 years, you have to make sure to turn on the sound to play a video. Because why the fuck why is the assumption you don't have sound on a video? That's what I want to know.
That's terrible.
Yep. And this should happen. This is what happens. We have a good show going on, and because idiots at StreamYard fuck this shit up, now we got to go and have technical difficulties.
Shoot, man, I hate to say it. I'm just not finding it. I made this work one time when we streamed, but
I think it's somewhere in your present, and there might be options somewhere in there.
Okay, let me see what I can find. Sorry, guys. I didn't think it was going to do this. That's really frustrating.
I hope they all have flat nuts because someone kicked them in them. That's what I hope.
Present. All right. Well, I'll keep trying to find it.
Just explain it to close it out because they don't need to see the actual thing. But go ahead and explain what happens in the commercial.
Well, so basically, you have this really dumb-looking, apparent tax professional who's sitting there with some lady with big boobs who's like, I'm breaking up with you. And he's like, what? Why? And she pulls out her phone and it shows, her going to a TurboTax live tax expert. Then you have some kind of douchey Hollywood actor who's there singing, because TurboTax can beat your price, stupid shit like that. But it's fairly condescending to tax professionals. I mean, I didn't care. I was just like, whatever, who cares? But I'm going to go over a quick article where, for whatever reason, these touchy tax professionals were like, how dare they, insult us?
A lot of fragile people out there. Yes, yes.
Mm-hmm. So that's something I am going to share. Let me share that article. Well, no. Let me do this first. So I have some background working for Intuit, aka TurboTax, as one of these live tax experts. And I think I've told you this before. Back in tax season 2016, so we're going back 8.5 years, so a while ago, I wasn't quite fully established with my own practice. I was still kind of getting up and running. And I decided to work part-time for Intuit as one of these, live tax experts that they're promoting right now. And what this means is that it's sort of like a call center in a way. You put on a headset, and if there were complex questions that the frontline TurboTax customer service folks couldn't handle, it would go to me and other live tax experts. And a lot of their questions, people are generally dumb, when they're using TurboTax and they're trying to self-prepare and everything.
Right.
But believe it or not, most of the time, the issues that were coming up my way were related to the software program itself rather than actual tax-related items. So it was a really wonky type position. And I've mentioned this before to you, I think, but towards the end of my time there in early April of 2016, I was asked to review their various versions of their tax, their online tax software, and then provide feedback on what they need to improve, based on my tax knowledge and based on the calls that I had been getting that season. And so I did this. I typed up a report, and I did put some work into it. It was mainly related to like fixed assets for small businesses and rental properties. Like that was just, people just couldn't figure that out. And the software was really shitty.
So you almost had to become an IT.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. Not just the taxes, but the IT as well.
Yeah. So it was an odd position. And so for the following, I didn't do this the following tax season. I was finally established by then. But as a courtesy, my former, manager was like, well, here, you have access to the 2017 program. Let me know what you think. Do you think they implemented one single recommendation that I said they ought to do better?
Nope.
They absolutely did not. So the reason I'm telling you that is because I'm going to go into talking about this. And I'm going to be honest, I don't have a very high opinion of Intuit and TurboTax. Okay. But there's a lot we're going to go over here. And the last thing I'll ask you is how much. I'm a CPA. They had me, live tax experts that were EAs, very experienced people. How much do you think they paid an hour back then?
What year? 2016, you said?
2016, yeah.
And did you have your CPA or you did not?
I did. I'd had it for 5 years at that point.
And you're a level 2 tech support or customer service. I'm going to say they paid you $24 an hour.
How did you know that?
I just guessed. I'm an economist.
You didn't see that?
Nope. Chad, talk to the GF.
Yeah.
Ask her about my ability. She says, okay, how far? We always play the game. How far did we hike? I am rarely off by more than 0.2 of a mile. And several times I have been nothing more than like twice. I was 1/100th off.
Damn.
From how far? Yeah, I'm good at guessing. Yep.
Wow. Is that not kind of a low hourly rate?
Low hourly rate for a CPA. Yes, it is. But they're probably saying, I can't believe we got this CPA to work for $24 an hour.
Oh, wait till I tell you who was working for them. In this cadre. My fellow live tax experts. So I'm going to go over this article. So yeah, they did that ad. And a bunch of tax pros got their panties in a bunch over this. I thought they kind of overreacted. So I am going to go over a quick article. Shouldn't have a problem presenting this one. Entire screen. There we go. This is from I'll leave us in there. This is from the CPA Practice Advisor, which
this is my favorite website. I go here every day.
Every day. It's better than Accounting Today. Yeah.
That's my second favorite.
This is by so it's titled AI CPA and NATP respond to TurboTax ad. So very, very dramatic, right? They responded to it. The ad tells Americans they should have a, quote, tax breakup with their professional preparer by using one of TurboTax's live experts. Dated about a week ago, October 17th, Isaac M. O'Bannon wrote the article. TurboTax, the most widely used do-it-yourself tax preparation in the U.S., is out with a new advertisement in which it is telling Americans that maybe they should save money and have a tax breakup with their professional preparer by using one of TurboTax's live experts. Okay. The irritation factor for some tax professionals and CPAs who provide tax preparation services is that, this is important, Intuit, the maker of TurboTax and several other consumer business programs, also produces a range of tax preparation systems made for professionals who service those exact same clients. These systems include Intuit, Pro Connect Tax, Lacert Tax, and Pro Series Tax. These systems consistently rank at the top of CPA Practice Advisor's Reader's Choice Awards, a non-scientific survey of tax professionals' technology preferences. Clary, who makes QuickBooks?
Intuit, doesn't it?
Intuit does, yeah. Also, do you happen to know whether I do or do not use Intuit's tax preparation software?
You don't. That's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
There's you use some kind of, I don't want to say obscure, but it's one I'd never heard of. But I did not know Intuit had the professional tax preparer software.
They have a few of them. Yeah. So you can already see where this is a bit of an issue because they're trying to get people to break up with their tax accountants, but they're the ones that are supplying. People are paying to use their tax software. So we're already.
So they ended up shooting themselves in the foot because they're going to lose their CPA clients who use their tax prep software to get more people to go to TurboTax and use it on the personal, individual, non-professional software, kind of is what you're saying.
This was the knee-jerk reaction by some people that are using their products. I mean, like I said, I didn't really care. I don't use their crappy tax software programs, but a lot of people do.
Interesting.
So, continuing on, quote, tax preparation isn't just about entering data or completing a form. It's about trust, accuracy, and making informed decisions, end quote, said Scott Artman, CEO of the National Association of Tax Professionals, an organization of more than 24,000 tax professionals nationwide. Quote, the personal relationship between a tax preparer and their client is crucial. A professional knows you and your financial history, keeps you compliant with regulations, and can adapt strategies based on your specific needs, end quote. The NATP says that the current advertising campaign, quote, goes against a key component of Intuit's business model, selling professional preparation software to the tax professionals they now seem to be undermining, end quote. Quote, tax professionals, or actually, so what do you think about that so far? I mean, do you think they thought this through, or do you think they were just...
I actually do. I think they did a cost-benefit analysis and said, okay, we can sell X amount of TurboTax commoner packages to your rank and file people to do their, or sell the services. And it might cost us, we might alienate some CPAs with this, but I think they said the loss of professional software clients through CPAs will be less than what we gain on the individual or the live service clients. I do believe they calculated it. Yes.
I think you're right. Like, I don't think they went into this blindly. So, So anyway, quote, tax professionals play a critical role in the tax filing, planning, and advisory landscape, one that continues to evolve, aided by AI and other technology. The crucial role of CPAs, who serve as expert and trusted advisors to business owners and individuals, was not reflected in an unfortunate recent ad campaign launched by Intuit. So you see they're getting butthurt. Quote, following the release of the ad, the AI CPA engaged in productive discussions with various stakeholders, including Intuit's CEO.
Wow, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So this pissed some people off. I mean,
and some
I didn't
highly
really
ranked
care.
people, the professional guild even contact. Yeah, that's kind of interesting. Very impressive.
Yeah. We want to, so the ICPA is saying this. We want to thank our members, many of whom expressed disappointment with the ad, for their patience as we held these conversations. Quote, Intuit's decision to halt the ad is a positive step. So did you see that? There was so much pressure and backlash from these organizations that they actually stopped playing the ad.
Yeah.
And that surprised me because it really wasn't meant. I didn't think it was that bad of an ad, but anyway.
But Chad, modern day, I mean, everyone is just a bunch of fraggy vaggies in this country now. I mean, really, oh my God,
Agreed.
I'm offended. Oh my God, I'm offended. Oh my, shut the fuck. You like, can we give jokes anymore at the office? Can you be funny with people? No, you can't. You really can't. And so now, because everyone's a fucking eggshell, yeah, I could see where Intuit, there probably was just like, haha, here's a cute gal, she's breaking up with a guy. And isn't that kind of the premise of TurboTax is, hey, we got some software that you can do yourself. I mean, that's their niche. And I just would, I don't know, the correct, this was 30 years ago, a CPA would laugh like, it's kind of cute. Man, she got nice tits. But that would be it. But now
that's what I did.
Yeah. Well, but you're a man. I think enough people were like, oh my God, it can't be. I would rule on the side of Intuit, even though you may not like their software, but this should have been, you can't have fun anymore. We can't make fun of people anymore.
And a slight spoiler alert, like this is all a good thing, but I'll finish up the article here. Quote, we appreciate that in our conversations, Intuit reemphasized their commitment to the CPA community and recognized the importance of growing that talent pipeline. AI CPA members interact with Intuit in numerous capacities, and this decision is recognition of how important that interaction is to Intuit. So the one time the AI CPA decides to actually do something, it's just to get butthurt over a commercial. Unbelievable, right?
When does they got on the horn with the president and CEO of Intuit, but they still dragging their feet on whether or not to get rid of that MBA requirement to sit for the CPA exam, right? Have they come out with any new guidelines about where we're going to recommend lowering it? Are they still setting up committees to look at the potential of having the feasibility study to someday have a meeting about it?
So that stream we did a month or two ago is they're trying to do this, but they're not doing nearly enough. They're still lazy. But see how they sprung into action here?
That's what I'm saying. They're
Yeah.
CPA crisis. Let's do something 30 years from now. But now there's a funny commercial with a girl with big boobs, and we get on the horn and we call that president and CEO of Intuit.
God, bunch of dirty boomers.
Who is like, you know what? Maybe we should start mentioning names that might let it fire. The AICPA. Now, I know it's state by state, but is there a national?
There's a national one. Yeah, there's absolutely a national one. I don't know who the people in charge are.
Let's look up the current leader of the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants is Carla McCall. Now, why do you know her?
No, I'm not surprised you read that a female name. I'll just leave it at that.
Okay. Yeah. Well, look, accounting, a lot of women went into accounting before all the woke girl boss shit.
True.
Then now, okay, so maybe we don't have to put a call into Carla McCall.
Carla McCall.
She is the current leader, but there's a CEO. The CEO is Mark Koziel, who take over the role in January of 2015. He will succeed Barry Malenkon, who's retiring at the end of. Well, I'm very confused.
Are there pictures of these people?
I'm sure if I looked them up, I mean, Koziel's kind of an interesting name. Let me take a look at Mark Koziel. Yeah, I mean, frankly, he's our age, maybe a little older, but he looks like Mr. Corporate, gray hair, big mop of gray hair, and he's wearing a suit. Could we? I'm not kidding. If we did a video on Mark Koziel, we titled it Mark Koziel and Carla McCall, or what's her name? Let me take a look at Carla McCall.
Yeah, I have no idea what they look like or who they are.
Carla, he looks like an accountant.
Glasses,
yes,
spurgy looking.
Carla McCall, CPA. She doesn't look so. I mean, yeah, she's kind of an accountant. I think she dyes her hair.
Gen Xer.
Yeah. Yeah, younger than us, I think, even maybe more your age than mine.
Mm-hmm.
But what if we were just to start naming the names? Like, hey, guy, like if we just did a video with their names in the title and they searched, oh shit, like, hey, what's the deal on getting rid of the the MBA requirement? When are you going to make it easier for poor kids and minorities and women because white guys don't count? See if that agitates them a little bit.
Maybe I will do a show. I'll be like, this is the AICPA. This is what they say they do.
We know what we could do that would be a little bit more intellectually honest. We should profile accounting leaders. And we do it through we'll go through and look at their background. This wouldn't be anything to be like slanderous or critical. And we just say like, okay, look at this person. This person has just been with their head in the books and they don't understand under the lens of, are you guys making progress to make it easier for people to become CPAs? And then, or maybe they might be it might be great if they'd come on the show and say, okay, give us the argument why you think we need more education. Why is the tax code more complicated? All right, well then, if you need more education, stop complaining. When do you stop complaining about the CPA shortage? Or we could go and say, look at all this horseshit ideas some of your colleagues came up with. Are you serious? Is that really what's going to happen? I'd be curious if we started naming names, if a fire would be lit under some people's asses and they might actually make some progress.
I'm fine with naming names. I mean, I have such a small following, it wouldn't matter much, but you have a larger following. So
I think you're more placed within the accounting profession than I think you would raise more eyebrows than me, actually.
I'm no Brian Kim or Logan Graff.
Well, we all can't be.
I'll finish this article out because there's a couple more interesting quotes. The TurboTax advertisement suggests consumers can save by using a built-in function in the online software that can connect them with a TurboTax expert. And again, I'm going to talk more about this. This optional feature is available at an additional cost. Intuit requires that its TurboTax experts be a CPA, EA, or practicing attorney. Again, $24 an hour with those certifications. So Intuit, the maker of TurboTax, provide the following statement to CPA practice advisor, quote, this is lame. Intuit is committed to tax preparers and accelerating growth of the tax preparation industry through job creation with more than 12,000 experts on our platform, driving tax preparer revenue with live experts making nearly $60 million in income last year and best serving the needs of taxpayers. Last year, more than 500,000 accounting professionals grew their practices with us through our Pro Advisor program, and we trained more than 129,000 learners on bookkeeping and tax preparation through Intuit Academy. The TurboTax campaign promotes assisted tax preparation by a local tax expert with the ability to maintain a multi-year advisory relationship with the tax filer. Intuit is engaged in constructive conversations with NATP to reaffirm our commitment to taxpayers and expanding their opportunities to serve tax filers. It's a long-winded way of saying we have a lot of people that still use our software, even though there's better options out there.
Well, and they also said we hire qualified candidates. This isn't they grab some bum off the street. You have to be an attorney, an EA, or a CPA, right?
From a credentialed standpoint, yes. But the very next thing I'm going to talk about is, with my experience, who most of these live tax experts were that had these credentials. And again, it was 8.5 years ago. But let's see. Finishing up here, quote, following the release of the ad, the AICPA engaged in productive discussions with various stakeholders, including Intuit CEO, end quote, said Barry Melancon, president of the American Institute of CPAs. I thought it was somebody else, the AICPA. We want to thank our members, many of whom expressed disappointment with the ad, for their patience as we held these conversations. And then for this last paragraph, they repeated something that was already said. So yeah, there was some butt hurt after this ad. I think it was probably a little bit extreme. I mean, do people have so little confidence in their own abilities that they're going to get upset over a commercial? I don't know. But oh, you're muted, dude.
Kind of going back to our previous conversation. So, I mean, assuming they have correctly credentialed people working on the lines, what would be your concerns then when you were working as one of these things? Was there some kind of unprofessionalism, or you obviously questioned the ability of TurboTax, even with the live service people, to deliver a good accounting service?
I'm just about to get to that, and you're going to like this. I want to, just for the purposes of clarity and everything, I want to go over exactly what's involved with this promotion, about changing preparers, lower price, and all that, because it's important. So here's more details about this promotion. This is the fine print, if you will. Okay. So what they're doing is they're going to offer you 10% less of the cost of what you paid for your current tax pro for your 2023 tax return. They say this deliberately. So this is for tax season 2025 for your 2024. So this is coming up. They're trying to do this for the upcoming tax season. Okay. To qualify for this offer, 3 things are necessary. The first is that you had to have used a CPA or another licensed preparer like an EA on your 2023 return. It can't be just somebody off the street. They have to be credentialed.
All right.
Second qualification is you have to sign up for this program with Intuit by December 20th of this year. So you can't just in February decide, oh, I'm going to
okay. Yep. Yeah. All right. All right. I can see that though.
This last one I feel is very important. You have to file your 2024 personal tax return by April 1st, 2025. So they're saying you got to get it done. No extensions, no delays.
Interesting. Okay.
Interesting, huh? This gets better. So that's what you need to qualify. And there's 4 benefits that you get out of this. Okay. The first one is that you do get one of their live tax experts. And again, I'm about to talk more about that. The second is you get transparent pricing, which is fine. They're saying, 10% below everything. This next one, I could not believe when I read this. The next benefit you get with this program is you get your taxes filed in 1 day. I think that is a terrible, terrible benefit of this thing, and I'm going to explain why.
Well, I'm
okay?
trying to figure. What do they mean? One day you sign up for this, you provide your documentation, and they have you filed in one day.
That is what they're saying. One of your benefits is for signing up for this program. I don't think that's a great idea, and I'm going to get into that. I promise. And then the last benefit you get, I really tried to find some more information about this. It just says a guarantee. And every time I did all kinds of Google searches, I went on Reddit. I don't know what that guarantee is, but it just says a guarantee.
It just says a guarantee.
Yes. Now, here's the fine print in addition to this, okay? Quote, price will be calculated at the time of the 2024 tax return filing based on the customer's actual 2023 tax return prep fees minus 10% or TurboTax current forms-based pricing, whichever is lowest as determined by TurboTax in its sole discretion. Okay.
All right.
I want you to keep that in mind because I have some interesting
Sounds
stuff.
like a chore, but okay.
It's a chore, and wait till you see how this can be exploited.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So first thing is first. Well, before I go on, so you're on board with all this? Do you think it's a good idea, bad idea?
I think most, so far the entirety of this conversation, I'm kind of on TurboTax's side.
Sure.
But I'm wondering, how are you going to get people guaranteed filed on the same day, given people's various complications? And then two, you have yet to tell me about the veracity and integrity of the customer service that people received in the past.
That's coming up.
All right.
So first things first, we are going to talk about this whole get it done in one day guarantee. So in addition to having to get it done by April 1st, you have to get it done in one day. And I ask you, Clary, what part of both of these factors leads you to believe that careful due diligence is going to be prioritized when people are preparing these returns?
Well, it doesn't make me think careful due diligence is going to be prioritized, because to get it done in a day, if anything, you have to file extensions for innocent tax filers because they don't get their K-1s on time.
So set that aside. Like, how often do you think, and this is even for long-term clients, and yes, you're very good at this, so don't pat yourself on the back.
Oh, once again, right.
No. If somebody says, hey, I just sent you all my documents, what percentage of the time do you think they actually included everything? And this is
10% of the time. There's always something missing.
There's almost always something missing. It's probably about 20% of the time, but I mean, there's always something missing. So I'm not really sure how this whole like do it in a day thing is going to work. But anyway, the thing is, one of the things about being a tax preparer, it was my own father that actually taught me this early on. There should never be any kind of incentive to rush through getting the return done, to hurry, because that lends itself to careless mistakes. It's just not a good incentive structure to set up. H&R Block doesn't do this. Yes.
Won't this create more work with amendments? Like, let's say
you stole my thunder. You stole my thunder. All right.
Yeah, I'm a dipshit Carlson School of Management major. Look at me, out doing the MBA over here.
We're getting to this. I promise. So, no, but that's what I said. I just feel like this whole get it done in a day and get it done by April Fool's Day, perhaps appropriately, 2025. I just think this kind of spits in the face of like, you really have to exercise careful due diligence on returns. So I really, really, really hate this incentive structure that they're setting up here. Now, listen, can many tax returns be prepared in one day?
Yes.
Yes.
And again, aligning with my agreement generally of Intuit doing this, maybe some people want kind of like, I could kind of do it myself, but I need a little bit of hand holding.
But you have to sign up by December.
You do. But I see a market for this, and I could see a lot of people with one W-2, a 1098, and that's it. Absolutely, there's a large market for this type of service.
Absolutely, no, there is. Like, it was really just that get it done in a day. That this was the first thing I was like, I don't like that. So, I mean, if we're talking about more complex things like rental properties, small businesses, LLCs, you really shouldn't do that in a day, because
No.
there's always bookkeeping cleanup. There's missing 1099s. There's just a lot to it. And plus their software still probably sucks in a lot of ways, especially with fixed assets. So yeah, I just think that this is going to put a lot of pressure on these tax experts that, they're talking about to get all this done. I think it's going to stress them out. So I really think they should remove that get it done in a day part.
No, I agree.
So that was my first point. And now the part you've been waiting for, my next thought here. So as you know, I was a part-time tax expert, 8.5 years ago. So I did interact with many other fellow tax experts that they brought on that year, because it was a team effort. You'd bring people on when it was needed. Now I want to ask both you. Well, I'm going to ask you, Clary, and I want to ask the chat. Okay, this is where it gets interesting. Which types of tax professionals made up the majority of these tax experts, of which I was a part of? And I am not talking about their certifications. I don't mean did they have a CPA, EA. I'm asking you about what you think they were demographically. And I don't mean gender, and I don't mean race.
So you want to know their demographics of, I want to say young people fresh out of college with no experience.
Quite the opposite. In fact, extreme opposite.
Like old timers who got nothing else to do.
Yes. Now, initially, you would think that's good. You're like, oh, they have all this experience and everything. I got to know quite a bit of these guys and gals, that during that tax season. And here's the thing. It had to have been 3/4 of them were above the age of 65. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
It was pretty bad. Yeah. Now here's the problem. Here's what this older crew was almost universally already retired from either running their own tax shops or even working with the IRS or state, government fiscal agencies, working for other CPA firms. And they were just kind of doing this seasonally. It was like,
it's something to do.
I just want something to do, Now that's not necessarily bad on its face if you think about it. But I need to tell you something. A lot of these boomer tax experts knew almost nothing about technology, including actually being able to navigate the program itself. And then another thing that I found was, Clary, do you really think they were that motivated to keep up with all of the tax rule changes, everything that goes on when they have no stake in this? They're already getting their pensions. They're financially set. Yep. So why should they give a shit in a $24 an hour job that they're just doing?
No, they just wanted to get out of the house and then on the way back home, go to a grocery store and stop in aisles or doorways. That was their dream.
Yes. And this is why, again, 8.5 years ago, this is why I have some real concerns about the heavy reliance on these tax experts in this program. There were some younger guys that were here, and they were more like me. They were getting established. I enjoyed working with them way more than these, geezer boomers, because the younger guys were the ones that were willing to research, that really wanted to keep on top of this stuff. They wanted to do a good job, a distinct minority back then. And that is why when I was reading about this program, I'm just like, I really hope things have changed with respect to this nowadays, because it was not good back then.
Well, and if you're offering online and it's software, you almost have to have some software competency by now, whether you're old or not.
Very limited training for those boomers back then to use the TurboTax program itself. Like I said, half the time I get pulled onto these things, it would be one of these, 68-year-old live tax expert like, Chad, you seem like you really know how to do this. We're stuck on this one little part. I mean, I felt like I was explaining it to my mom. Like sometimes my mom will call me and be like, Chad, can you show me how to do this thing on Excel or whatever? And, I'll be like, sure, here you go. It honestly.
All right. Okay. Let me help you be a better son. Okay.
How's that?
Google it, Mom. That's how you remember me. Look it up in the dictionary. So now I say, yeah, Google it, Mom. I don't have time. There you go. I just helped you out with Mrs. Elkins.
Well, she'd be like, Chad, your dad tried to Google it. He couldn't find anything. So yeah. But
your problem, but go on.
So yeah, that was really all I wanted to say about these live tax experts. I do want to mention to keep this more positive, because I tend to just talk about H&R Block and Jackson Hewitt and all that. You can't just apply for an Intuit job and automatically be a tax expert. You do have to have a CPA or an EA, like they said. And if you have some tax experience where you've been trained a little bit, but you don't want to go out on your own yet, this could be a good opportunity, kind of like the situation that I was in. But I just want to caution guys that are hearing about this and they're like, oh, this sounds like something I want to do. They're not going to give you any training about how to actually do taxes.
I'll one up beyond that. Whereas I think this service generally is a good idea, especially if you have competent staff and all that. If you are an EA, an attorney, or a CPA, your time isn't worth working this line. You could literally put if you're licensed to do taxes, you're going to make a hell of a lot more money just going out and open up your own shop, running some ads on Facebook or whatever. Yeah, I mean because it was $24 8.5 years ago. I gotta imagine maybe it's 30 or 32.
33. I did look 33. It up. So they've raised, but $33 an hour, man. Come on, you're a CPA.
See how I guessed close? You see how close I was?
Yeah,
I just
pretty good. Inflation and all that. But I just don't think. I just say I hope this has changed. I would not trust, based on my experience working there, I would not trust.
So your concern was the old timers and just their technology competence. What about the actual software itself? I know you said you had some concerns or you would make some improvements and didn't implement it. And I'm sure because all software has problems, was it ever that the software was wrong?
There were a few times, and again, this mainly involved fixed asset depreciation with rentals. I won't get technical, but you don't just write off the value of your home. You have to divide it between land and building. You can only depreciate the building. TurboTax did a terrible job, like walking through that with people. So that was actually wrong from a tax code sense. The software was
right.
They didn't change it.
Well, yeah, and that would be my main concern. But let's say you had tax software that had full integrity, there were no errors, it was compliant with the code, and you had competent staff. Like, yeah, I'm kind of okay with TurboTax offering this. What I'm kind of fascinated by is the 1 day turnaround, and then like by the fact you're paying a very low wage, you're just getting a bunch of old timies who are retired. It's kind of, yeah, I mean, good luck to you, but that's kind of not our problem. But I do like the fact that they kind of scared the CPA society a little bit. That's kind of cool.
I mean, yeah, they were so, ooh. What the CPA society doesn't understand, well, they do understand, but they're scared of, coming down from the ivory tower. You've heard, we talk about it. There's a huge shortage here. This is not bad. I don't think any part of this is actually bad for tax professionals, because do you know how many, just today I got 3 of these, and yes, tax season is over. Do you know how many people email me that just have garden variety Form 1040s that need a tax preparer to do it? Like, this is good. You're expanding the option for these people to work with TurboTax. Now, should you work with one of these live tax experts for like S corporations and partnerships? Absolutely not.
No.
But I really hope they've got more, maybe some younger and hungrier live tax experts in, because I was very unimpressive back in.
Well, don't we have people? We have several young men who are preparing. They're going into training for H&R injections. Yes. I'm kind of curious if they've ran into it, because wasn't it Red Hawk? Somebody or Franklin, maybe they went in there and it was just a bunch of old timers.
Both of them said that.
Both of them said, okay. So I don't think using that as a proxy, I don't think their customers, their TurboTax online experts are any different. I think it is an old timey thing. And so people are going to have to, I'll tell you this, if you just got a 1099 or not 1099, a W2 and a 1098, you can do it yourself. You don't need to hire a CPA, but I think I doubt it's going to be young whippersnappers who are savvy with tech that are going to be manning the phones this upcoming tax season.
I'm a little skeptical about that too. So that's who these live tax experts were, at least back then. And now there's one final point I want to make about this, and I think you're going to enjoy it. It's this whole break up with your tax accountant thing, okay? Where you saw you didn't see the commercial, but you get the idea. It was a lady with big tits sitting in there going, "Hey, I'm not going to use you anymore." Yeah. I think Homeschool Time linked it in the chat, but yeah, or here, Clary, I can send you the link on.
No, I'm just gonna look it up. I just want to get and you keep mentioning her boobs, so now I kind of want to.
They're pretty impressive.
Boy, it's everybody. What if fire your tax accountant TurboTax commercial?
Here, I'll put it in the private chat. Here's the link to the YouTube for it. Maybe put the sound off, but yeah.
All right, let me just pull it up.
And I'll see if I can put it in the chat too. I think I can. Here's what I was trying to play.
No.
You don't think?
I had higher expectations.
Well, it's, so anyway, this is it's a question for you, Clary, and it's a question for the chat. Okay. When a current client of mine, and this includes really long-term ones, okay, when they intend to move on from me, if I'm essentially getting fired, right? Mm-hmm. How often do you think they actually directly let me know that they're going to do this instead of simply ignoring all my communications, just ghosting me? Give me a percentage. How often do they actually tell me?
99%. Only 1% tells you. 99% just ghosts you.
It was actually 5%. I gave a rough estimate. So you weren't wrong. I mean,
a very small minority.
If somebody is moving on, they don't owe me that. They don't have to tell me.
No, they don't
they don't owe me that. So I don't have any problems with this. But that's one reason why the commercial was so stupid. And another question. Why did I just ask you that, Clary? Why am I bringing this up? You might not know.
I would imagine that they would probably because if you're even in a slightly complicated situation, your CPA does know your situation. They do know the strategies to employ. So it's like switching doctors. You just don't quit one doctor and then there's no medical records, right? So I would imagine a CPA calls you and asks for their records, or they can somehow infer it from the previous tax returns that have been filed.
Right.
But I'm all for hiring and firing whoever you want, but with your CPA, and I'm just going to replace you with some call service online. If you got a complicated situation, that customer service person does not know,
right?
Unless they're very good and they got a lot of documentation that you get, which the average person who isn't an accountant, I'm going to assume, is not going to provide.
And they have to get it done in a day.
Yeah, no, it's not going to happen. No.
So, well, anyway, so yeah, 5% or less actually tell me that they're going to leave me. And, I'm never really offended. I'm just like, oh, okay. Let me know.
It's because you're too busy breaking up with all your other clients. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So, who else knows this percentage? Intuit. Intuit knows that almost nobody ever actually tells their tax professional that they're going to move on from them.
Right.
Why is this important? It's okay if you don't know. It's okay if you don't know.
I don't. But let me guess. I like being right all the time. Okay, so Intuit knows no one tells their CPA, so they're banking off of the fact that they can dangle a 10% lower price, and there is no confrontation.
Correct. We're gonna do a very quick role-playing exercise.
Okay.
You and me. Okay?
Oh boy. Oh, yeah. That's what I look forward to this afternoon.
Clary, I want you to do two things right now. I want you to pretend like that you're telling me in person that you're going to move on from me. And then I want you, when I ask you, well, okay, let's go. Start. Tell me you're moving on from me. Say,
Chad, I'm moving on from you. I'm going to go with another CPA next year.
Oh, okay. Well, may I ask who you're going to be going with? Like, why are you doing it? Who are you going to be going with?
I'm going with the TurboTax online services.
And what did they promise you?
They promised me a 10% decrease.
Based on my fee?
Based on your fee, yeah. So the 10% less than what you charge.
Well, you know what? I'm going to do you the biggest favor in the world. Here's a backdated invoice from when we last did our 2023 return, and now your preparation fee was only $50. So you go ahead and take that to Intuit, and you get your $40 or $45 tax prep.
And how many people saved the receipt as to what they paid you?
None.
Right? So you could just make some BS invoice, and you and all the other CPAs could torpedo TurboTax.
This was all over Twitter, amongst the tax Twitter community. People are like, okay, well, just if people actually tell us, and again, almost nobody tells you that. Intuit knows this. Anybody that does be honest with us, we're going to say, okay, how much would you like to say you paid me last year?
But don't they have to tell you now?
What?
Because in order to get the price, you got to show some kind of form or some kind of like fee.
Yes, it's required, but I am not required to be honest with
Right.
TurboTax about what you paid for a tax
Mhm.
prep fee.
Yeah. So I mean, this is that's a big gaping hole in their strategy.
It is, but Intuit knows nobody's ever going to tell their tax accountant
Well,
that
yeah,
they're leaving
but
and why
how
they're
are
doing
they
it.
then? Let's say I want to use their service. How do they know what to charge me, or do they just go then to the TurboTax guide price guide sheet?
Yeah, if you can't produce an invoice, they are going to go to it. And I don't know what their minimum is at whatever their system is, but that's why I read that fine print kind of thing. It's whichever one is lower. So, Clary, here's a $50 invoice. You take that to your TurboTax Live expert. Have fun getting your taxes done in a day, and we should hang out soon.
Soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that is the biggest. That's the weakest link in their armor.
And it's a win for all parties because I ditch a cheapskate client. They pay less in tax fees, for their W-2 and 1040 form, and Intuit gets screwed. So everybody wins in that instance. So do you see why, in general, I'm just really for this thing? I mean,
it's they all we're gonna be replaced by AI. There's no shortage. It's like you do not lose sleep over at the end of the day. At the end of the day, Chad. God, it's a great quote. At the end of the day, quote from the Guns of Navarone. So, yeah, somebody's got to take responsibility.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you need someone who can do the fucking job, and you're going to pay for it one way or the other. And if you're paying a cheap price, and I'm all for like getting the affordable prices possible, but if you have a slightly complicated tax situation, you think you're going to save money going with TurboTax on this, you're not. Because in the end, what's going to happen, Chad? Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Herman McOldfart. I can do that in a day. He does your S Corp LLC combination, Schedule E on top of it, tax return in one day. And then all of a sudden, you get the bill, he files the taxes, and you find out that you have to pay a lot more in taxes. What are you going to do?
Well, they're going to be pretty pissed off, and they're going to take it to a legitimate tax professional like me and Monero Mateo.
Yeah.
And he said it correctly. Cheap, disorganized clients will be our collective bioweapon against the Intuit beast because they're going to screw it up.
And then they're going to want to file what?
An amended return.
An amendment. Yep. And then
those are not cheap, at least in my office. Probably not Mateo's either. Those are not cheap. And because we do them in our off season, so we don't give a fuck if they say no. We do high quotes. So to me, yeah, the AICPA and that other organization, they can be all butthurt about this, but I'm happy to celebrate it, both based on my experiences working with Intuit and the current situation that we all have in the shortage. And one could argue, Clary, this is beneficial for the shortage because the people that they're attracting can get it done in a day are the ones that should really be self-preparing anyway. But if they don't want to, they can just let them do it.
Right. No, I don't. There's lots of room. There's lots of room for everyone to come on in. Come on in, guys. It's the water's fine and plenty of water to go.
There's just don't. Well, okay. So that was that. I've gone through all my points and I had a few concluding thoughts, and then I'll go pee. We'll do super chats. I'll get another beer. But
all right.
A few concluding thoughts about if you are a fellow tax professional of mine that uses Intuit's tax preparation software, and you are truly that offended about this thing, I promise you there's several other very good tax software programs that you can switch to, okay? QuickBooks you're probably stuck with, but I mean, you can switch if you got that butt hurt about this. But I'm also going to say I really don't think you should care that much about that stupid ad. They weren't trying to insult you. They're just trying to, get people, okay? And like I said, if someone, the 5% or less tells you that they're actually going to leave you because of this idiotic promotion, be happy and let them. You don't want clients that are going to be susceptible to doing stuff like this. Those are bad clients. They're price shoppers. You should be celebrating anytime you lose one of them. I mean, wouldn't you agree?
The number one advantage you have is being self-employed is what?
You get to choose who you work
Choose your
with.
clients. Yes. And if they want to go, let them go.
Exactly.
Yep.
And Claire, you did kind of steal my thunder on this last top on this last
I'm
bullet point.
sorry.
That's
I just
okay.
logically
No,
went
it's
to that.
okay. It's okay. It's okay. But it's like we said, there's going to be so many mistakes that are made by these live tax experts. And I'm not even saying that necessarily to knock them. If you're going to put them on, time pressures, you got to get this done in a day. I mean, that's hard to do. And they're gonna screw up. It just happens. If you got a bunch of upper 60s, early 70s boomers, what incentive do they have to really care that much? I mean, they're gonna do their best, but I really doubt you're gonna come away with an unscathed.
Not on a day return. Not on a day
Right.
turnaround. It's not going to happen. Yeah. No, we'll see. We'll see what happens this year. I'd
Right.
be
And
very curious. Yeah.
so my concluding point is just that you guys should be happy about this. It helps us. It deals with the shortage. The clients you don't want will go to them.
It's the guy who's a chubby chaser. He comes in and takes all the fat chicks away, right? Right.
Why should we care?
What? There you go. I'm happy Herman's in town. He's taking all the fat gals away. All right, there you go. We like Herman. There we go.
All right, Clary, I need another beer and I need to pee. So please feel free to hawk.
All right. I will hawk our wares. The only wares that we have is the world's greatest accounting career. For all of you who are interested in becoming accountants, that is linked below. I think Chad linked to it below. He should. He's got an affiliate link. He gets paid 25%. Oh, yeah. Now it's time to do that too. God damn it. I have so many freaking alarms to remind me of what to do. Anyway, so if you're interested in a career in accounting and more than just like, oh, well, I guess, but you're like, yeah, I really want to evaluate this. You can go online and waste a lot of time trying to find videos and we put together a course called The World's Greatest Accounting Career, and it goes through all your options, why you might want to consider accounting, the best way to do it depending on what your goals are, be that big time corporate muckety muck CPA, make partner at big time firm, or leave me the fuck alone. I want to chill out and make my $40-50 an hour on a beach in Thailand remotely. We have all that kind of covered. And you may really want to consider taking it, especially if you're a younger person, because accounting is a great profession to get into. There is a shortage kind of across all the different sub specialties within the accounting profession and career. You don't have to go to college to become an accountant. You can, and you have to if you want to become a CPA, but you don't have to do that. We have a lot of young men we've been helping out. Ladies, don't know where you're at. Don't know if you want to close the wage gap or just bitch about it, but helped out a lot of young men like Parker, Red Hawk. I think there's a couple others where they're going down the not college path. And so that's something for you to consider. Otherwise, I don't know. You guys got questions, you go to my website, assholeconsulting.com. I got the book of numbers. That's the Better Bachelor edition. Joker wrote a forward to it. This is basically a book that analyzes the pursuit of women from a financial perspective. It's very interesting. And what else I got? Oh, I don't want to. If I pulled that book out, everything on top of it would fall down. Then I have to pick things up. I don't want to do that. And that's about it. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, Aaron Clary, my name is not Atham is Gahay. Where the hell is he now that I think about it? Is he in the comments? Oh, darn it. He must be sleeping. It's no fun when you pick on your buddy and he ain't around. Like you get a really good dig on your friend, but he's not around for it. Oh, man.
Were you making fun of me?
No, I was making fun of Atham. He's not even here to see the dig. I don't know. He's not here. He's not even in the comments section.
This is that
Waterloo Blues here. Oh, hey, Harvey's in the chat room. Harvey's here. Yeah.
Atham, and Harvey's in here too. Yeah, but
oh, there he is. Okay.
Yeah, Atham's here.
All right.
Atham, we will drink over Zoom sometime soon, maybe today. You want on us, Atham? We're almost done. Did I miss anything?
No, I was just chatting about the course, and if people were interested in an accounting career. What's the course? What's the name of the course they should take again, Chad?
All right, I did this earlier today. All right.
Yeah, I know.
It's called The world's greatest accounting career.
Yeah, it's improving. You're not in a rush. Not in a rush, okay? It's the world's greatest accounting career.
Do you go to Costco?
No, I don't have a membership.
Oh, okay, we can use Athens.
Wait, how would the math work on that? Like, you got to
wouldn't.
transport it halfway
wouldn't.
across the country. We lose all of our savings on gas.
Do they have Costco in South Dakota? They probably do.
No, they got a Sam's Club in Rapid City. They might have one in Sioux Falls, but maybe. I mean, there's not that many people that live out here. So, I mean, you're lucky if you get a Walmart in these towns. Very lucky.
There's two of them in
There's two in Rapid City, yeah. There's the trashy one and the less trashy one.
There's even a Planet Fatness.
There
Okay.
is.
Oh, hey, what's up, Alex Patino? Clary, after our stream earlier today, when it was super chat after super chat, I'm embarrassed and ashamed to tell you we really don't have that many. But
that's fine. We because you gotta go drink with Atham. I gotta get out and go get some food and enjoy a day. I've just been doing videos, and even though I went for a hike, I want to go outside again.
Well, let's start with this one.
BFC Z8 nap, $2 halfway through the accounting course. It's great. Oh, okay, cool. Thanks, BFC.
I will say I'm getting very good feedback about the course.
Have you watched it yet?
Yes, I've actually
did watch it. Okay, all right.
Yeah, I think it's a very good. It's good that you had a PowerPoint slide with it as well, because people can go back and refer to it. There's just this one part which, again, I asked you about this, guys. I want to emphasize this. Try not to be a spurg, okay? Don't make people feel word. Yeah, I'm glad we had that part in there, but it's just a critical component is communication and soft skills. Just don't be robotic and don't be weird, okay?
Yeah, but if they don't know what weird is, how do they know not to be it?
I know it's a tough one.
See, I was a nerd. I was a big nerd in school. Like, I was not picking up on social cues and all that. And no one ever told me. I guess it's maybe one of the drawbacks of being the eldest in your family. Like, you're the first, you're the prototype. All the mistakes are going to be made on you. But I mean, how does one know? I mean, I got some ideas. All right, let me ask you this. Do you think it's worth a whole separate course on how to develop personality, how to talk, how to be perfect? I mean, you think it's because you keep emphasizing this.
I'm inclined to say yes, man, because I have to. I talk to so many tax professionals. I don't necessarily mean CPAs, also EAs, just people who like it. And maybe it's a left brain thing. I have this issue with engineers. It's just really hard to have a good conversation with them. Like they lack. Ask about the other person. Don't just talk about yourself. You get what I'm saying? Like
no. I get plenty of. I mean, and some resources I've had have helped me become a good conversationalist. The key thing of which is just you don't exist.
Right.
I mean, it's a pretty good principle to go by. Is you just shut up and ask people about themselves.
Maybe you could frame it as like how to get a sales job. I don't know, but there's just, and I'm not trying to knock people in my profession, but there needs to be a little bit of improvement on the soft skills.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So you're now before the girl boss thing, and in defense of women, just as many women went into accounting as men. And I'd imagine the personality is somewhat the same. So do accountants rarely marry each other because accountants are so socially reclusive? And so then the girls marry kind of an outgoing guy and the guys kind of marry a more gal who wears the pants? Or do actual accountants marry each other and just look at each other timidly?
Clarification is necessary on this because when I was at the Big Four, which we discussed earlier, the hottest women imaginable were all in audit. And they had social skills. And they ended up marrying, investment bankers and a few people hooked up. I don't know if anybody married. I'm mainly referring to the tax ladies. The tax ladies are kind of weird. I have to be very honest about this. There really weren't any good looking women in tax, at least not at the public accounting firm I was in. So to answer your question, it kind of depends what type of accountant we're talking about, I think.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So your advice for developing personality is more for tax accountants then.
Yeah, I should clarify that. Yeah, like tax account. Some of my bookkeepers are weird, but they are.
I don't know. Yes, it will help your career, no doubt. But at the same time, I wouldn't necessarily go out of your way and learn a couple few things, and you know, really just don't talk about yourself.
Yeah,
Talk about the
stop
topic at
talking
hand.
about yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Chad, do I hate people? Do I want them to die?
Yes.
No. Okay.
I know. I'm just kidding. Some people, but not
I don't
many.
want them to die, but do I give a shit about the lady at the coffee store or the
No.
checkout person? No, I don't. I don't want them to die. I wish them the best. I don't care about the teller at the bank. I'm there to conduct business.
Right.
And once you realize that, like, no one gives a shit about, especially the HR. Does the HR lady interviewing you give a shit about you?
No, she probably hates you.
Hate your guts. If you're a guy, especially, because men are evil. So you just answer the questions quickly, efficiently, and get on.
I need to go to Perky Cups. I need to go there.
Perky Cups. Yeah. The talent has kind of gone downhill past couple times I've visited. I was just like, more droopy cups than Perky Cups.
Poor great one.
Poor great one. Bob, $5. Will you have an issue if you work at 2 different tax firms at the same time? Do you have any experience with Jackson Hewitt or H&R Block?
Well, I mean, we've talked a lot about H&R Block on my channel. Jackson Hewitt is probably about the same, but it's maybe a slightly lower rung. I don't really have an answer for you. I mean, I know non-competes aren't exactly legal anymore. They've kind of wash on those. We have an issue if you work for 2 different tax firms at the same time. I honestly don't know.
I don't know. If it was up to me, you could work as many different places as you want. It wouldn't bother me. But why do you need to work at 2? I mean, what's your experience at Jackson Hewitt going to be different than H&R Block? I think you just need to get some tax experience, and unless they're not giving you the hours, then you got to go pick up some extra work, in which case, yeah, go ahead. But yeah, as long as it's not against whatever rules or principles they got, yeah, I see no reason not to.
If you have the time to do it and you need the experience, yeah, go for it.
Turbo Rando, $10, self-employed but hate my corporate clients. Starting over and changing careers at 47. Now QB, not quarterback.
QuickBooks certified, yeah.
Finished H&R Block course. Now studying for the EA. Interview with HR tomorrow.
H&R Block.
H&R Block. Yeah, no problem, Turbo. It's good to see you doing it.
Yeah, man. And so a lot of questions people email me and I get them in the comments. They'll be like, I'm so and so years old. Is it too late for me? It's not too late for you. It's never too late.
Are you dead? That's when it's too late. If you're still alive, it's not too late.
I got guys that are telling me I'm 26. Is it too late for me to get my CPA? I didn't get mine until I was 32. So get that out of your head.
JA, $5. If self-employment were no longer an option for you, would you go back to public, perhaps at a smaller mid-sized firm?
Nope.
Not even the smaller ones, huh?
No public accounting. I would work for a maybe like family-owned CPA shop or something. Public accounting is a meat grinder, and I want no part of it anymore.
Would you work in industry, like become a company accountant?
Yeah, you remember that stream we did where I was like, what it's like to work in corporate accounting? We did that. So I would do that, and it wouldn't be difficult, but my God, it would be boring. Like I wouldn't have a fulfilling life if I did that. So, well, Clary, believe it or not, that is all the super chats. I want to say hi to Harvey Polanski here. Yeah.
I'm not surprised Intuit is stabbing people in the back. They did it to bookkeepers first.
Did.
That's right. They started trying to poach bookkeeping clients for their service that outsources to the Philippines.
Yes. Yeah. So, all right. Well, Claire, I really appreciate it. I know we went pretty long earlier today, so this was really good. We'll figure out the whole super chat thing later. Otherwise, is there anything else you want to hawk?
I don't want to hawk. I just want to say I had a little bit of a sad day. I looked to the south, and there was a plane flying across the sky in this far southern part of the sky, and it was Chad not stopping and visiting in South Dakota because he's going to go visit Rurb, and it was all right. It was okay. I got over it, and after a little tear had welted up but dried because I don't have that much emotion anymore, I got on with my life. So, and
there you have it.
Well,
I should tell you, and you can laugh at us for this. We actually were in Salt Lake City to go to a sports ball game. So we did.
The GF wanted to watch. Like, why are they in Salt Lake? I'm like, Yeah, why are they in Salt Lake? Because I was like, well, I mean, I like Rur, but that's kind of a far flight to go visit Rur. And maybe, I don't know, I thought maybe you guys just wanted to check out Salt Lake City.
Well, and another reason was in between my first and second year of my MBA program, I was an intern at a bank in Salt Lake City.
Yeah, the one where you banged your boss or something.
Boss, yeah,
Yeah, God bless you, man. That's like your pinnacle moment, right? I'm so proud of you.
There was fallout with that. She lost her job, and career services refused to help me after that because the bank cut off the relationship to where I got my MBA. So you can say I left a lasting legacy, right?
I'm
And
proud
she
of
never
you.
talked to me again.
Fucking
Yeah.
proud of you. There should be more of that. It's perfectly fine. But anyway,
It was kind of cool at the time. But anyway, I hadn't been back in Salt Lake in 14 years because that was the summer of 2010. And I enjoyed it so much. I just wanted to be there for a few days. I was like,
Salt
man,
Lake's
I
a
love
nice
this
town.
place.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
a good town. It's no Rapid City, but
It-
you know,
It is no Rapid
it is
City.
Rapid City. Does the Great One live in Salt Lake City?
No, he does not.
He does not. I'm just pointing. Does Atham live in Salt Lake City?
No,
He does not.
So it's not as good.
Could you imagine if those two lived in the same town? How cool of a city that would be.
Indeed.
That would be the bee's knees, man. That would be the shiznit.
Well, that was really all I had. Would you like to hang out at some point?
I think we should hang out soon.
Soon.